In one of China's most celebrated classic novels, there's a story that has left readers speechless for over 200 years. The man at the center of this story is Fan Jin. He was a scholar who took the imperial examinations again and again, and failed every single time. Through all these years of failure, his family could barely scrape together enough food. His mother often grew weak from hunger, and Fan Jin himself became thin and worn down. And still, he endured year after year. He had a father-in-law named Hu Tuhu, a butcher in the local town with some money in his pocket and a mouth that never held back. He would insult Fan Jin right in front of everyone. A useless, a good-for-nothing man, until dreaming of reaching a swan. Even if you take the exam for another 30 years, this is still the fate you were born with. And he did not see this behind his back. He said it directly to Fan Jin's face, loudly and confidently, as if he had every right to say it. Fan Jin said nothing back, not because he was an easygoing person, but because in that situation he had nothing he could use to argue back. And so the years continued to pass. Then one day the news arrived. Fan Jin had passed the examination. His name was on the list. When the news reached the town, Fan Jin was at the market trying to sell a chicken, hoping to earn enough coins to buy some rice. When he saw the list, he collapsed on the spot. Then he ran through the streets, shouting, I passed, until someone slapped him and brought him back to his senses. And then everything changed. First came the neighbors, the people who had ignored Fan Jin's family for years, suddenly remembered, all right, there are still our neighbors. Some brought rice, some brought money, some even came to clean his yard. Normally, they thought this was strange. Everyone acted as if this was completely natural. Then came the local gentry, as they came to waste one after another, calling him brother, speaking warmly, as if they had been close friends for years. The same people who had never even noticed him before now spoke to him with a strange sense of familiarity, as if they had always shared this kind of relationship. All of them came with smiles, and finally, there was Hu, the butcher. He walked in, stood before Fan Jin, and the first thing he said was, I always know it. I always know my son-in-law was destined for great things. His voice was steady, his expression was calm. There was not the slightest sign of hesitation in his eyes, not even a trace of embarrassment, as if all the years of humiliating Fan Jin in public had never happened. Many readers reach this point, and their first reaction is, what a selfish and status-driven person. They shake their heads, then continue reading. But what truly makes this story unsettling is not how bad Hu, the butcher, was. It's another question entirely. Did Hu, the butcher, ever feel that he was contradicting himself? The answer is no. He never felt that he had done anything wrong, because in his own mind, he was right at both times. When Fan Jin kept failing, he truly had nothing. Looking down at him by accident felt normal. It felt reasonable. It even felt honest. When Fan Jin passed it, he truly became someone standing overnight, a person with status. Changing his attitude at that moment also felt normal. It felt reasonable. It felt like the natural thing to do. All the butcher's attitude was always tied to one thing: whether this person at that moment deserved his respect. And in his judgment, a person's status, position, and future determined whether that person deserved to be respected. He wasn't trying to manipulate anyone. I didn't even need to think about it. This was simply how I saw people. the way he had seen people his entire life, without ever questioning it. And he was not the only one who changed. The neighbors changed. The gentry changed. The entire town changed. And nobody thought there was anything wrong with it, because in everyone's mind, it was simply the normal reaction. We tend to think of Hu, the butcher, as nothing more than a small-minded and self-serving person, telling the story as someone else in real life. But what truly unsettles us is that it's hard to completely separate ourselves from it. Because the logic Hu the butcher followed does not exist only inside this novel. Think about the people around you, the same person when they are struggling and when they are successful. Do we really give their words the same weight? Same request coming from someone unknown or coming from someone with status and influence? Do we really respond in exactly the same way? When someone is at a low point, we are more likely to notice their flaws. When someone raises in status, we are more likely to magnify their strengths. Not because we are bad people, not because we are deliberately trying to calculate the ever more, simply because the way we judge people is never completely independent. It was shaped by their circumstances at that moment, by the position they hold, and by how others see them at that time. We think we are judging a person, but what we are really judging is the position they happen to be standing in. Fan Jin never became a different person on the day he passed. He was still the same Fan Jin, the same man who was there taking Hu the butcher's insults with no power to fight back. His knowledge had not changed. His character had not changed. He himself had not changed. What changed was not Fan Jin. It was the way people looked at him. That is why The Scholars was never just a story about a scholar passing an exam. It reveals a truth many people would rather not face. The way people treat you is not really about who you are, but about the situation you are in. This is not a criticism of Hu the butchers. It's a mirror. Because what we see in that mirror is not only Hu the butchers. It may also be a version of ourselves at some point in our lives.